A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
What's open, what's closed, and what's on in Australia on Anzac Day 2022. Anzac Day is a national holiday, which extends over a 3-day long weekend.
Listed below are the things you can do on Anzac Day, including shopping, the movies, and other events. While most businesses will remain open as usual, some will be closed.
Read on to learn more. Also, find out if there are any special events planned.
Anzac Day is a national commemoration. Anzac Day is a day of remembrance for all Australians who fought in World War I.
The day commemorates the men who lost their lives and the sacrifices they made. In Australia, Anzac Day commemorations are observed all over the country.
Many of the veterans take part in ceremonies, such as the dawn service. It is traditionally held at 4:30 am, the moment the men of Anzac first stepped onto the Gallipoli beach.
The tradition began as a cenotaph, whereby troops were woken by the first light of dawn so they could be ready for enemy attack. Today, the service is a ritual for many veterans.
Historically, the term Anzac was first used to describe the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. The soldiers who served in these forces were known as Anzacs and took pride in their name.
Since the first major military action of the First World War, Anzac Day has become a national commemoration. Although originally intended to honour Australians who fought in the Great War, Australian troops have fought in numerous conflicts throughout the world.
It is a restricted trading day. This year's Anzac Day will be a restricted trading day in many areas.
Most retail businesses in Australia will remain closed on April 25. This is due to the fact that the day is an important day of commemoration in Australia.
Many retailers, including fast food outlets, will not be able to open on this day due to the many ceremonies and services taking place around the country. However, there is some good news for those who own businesses that operate on this day.
While most shops will close at 1 p.m. on Anzac Day, the IGA and Bunnings will be open. However, you should note that petrol stations and chemists will be open.
Most banks will be closed. Another important change for the day is the legalization of the game 2-up on Anzac Day.
The game originated during World War I, and is now legal on Anzac Day. Retailers can only open their businesses on the day between sunrise and 1 p.m.
They will not be required to close on Good Friday or Easter Sunday, but they will be able to trade on Anzac Day after the first fall.
This will be the first Anzac Day without restrictions in the country since the withdrawal of Australian forces from Afghanistan. The government will release further guidance in the future.
Until then, the day will remain a public holiday. It is a public holiday.
If you're one of the millions of Australians who'd like to spend the long weekend with your family, you'll be glad to know that Anzac Day will be a public holiday in NSW next year. The holiday falls on a Saturday this year, but if you're like most of us, you want to avoid working on this day.
Fortunately, the NSW government has made it easy to plan for a holiday by granting it as a public holiday if this public holiday marks the end of the First World War.
It's the day when Australia and New Zealand commemorate the fallen soldiers in the conflict. In some states, stores are not allowed to open before 1 p.m.
In Queensland, supermarkets will close their doors entirely on Anzac Day, while petrol stations may be open all day. Public transport systems may be affected by the day's holiday, and extra services may be provided to accommodate the day's events.
2-up is a traditional game played in Australia. It's only legal on Anzac Day, but the day is also made legal over a 3-day period.
In Sydney, the Anzac Day March and the dawn service will be held in Victoria. Monday, April 25 is also a public holiday, but Business Victoria hasn't granted a replacement holiday for Anzac Day.
It is extended over a 3-day long weekend. In New Zealand, the long weekend begins on Monday the 25th of April and ends on Monday, April 29th, the first day of the Easter holiday.
This year, the Anzac Day long weekend coincides with the Easter holiday, which means that the weekend will be particularly busy. A roadworks project near Ojai Way is likely to cause heavy congestion, particularly in the morning and early afternoon.
Those heading to Auckland are advised to take alternative routes or plan their journeys to avoid peak traveling times. The Auckland Anzac Day festivities include a two-up game between the St. George Illawarra Dragons and the Sydney Roosters.
Fans can catch the match live on big screens throughout the city. There will also be live music in the evening.
Risol Songa is an Aussie classic. The Dolphin Hotel will offer an Anzac Day special at its RSL restaurant, featuring beef risol, cheese, onion and sauce.
Gambling will also be legal during the extended Anzac Day weekend. In Australia, two-up is a traditional gambling game that involves throwing two coins into the air, which is legal on Anzac Day.
The move is intended to encourage the public to visit local pubs and clubs to celebrate the long weekend, which is a traditional Australian tradition. However, it's not known if the change will result in an increase in the number of people playing the game.
It is marked by a Veterans March. The Anzac Day Parade is an annual event commemorating the landing of the Australian and New Zealand forces at Gallipoli during the First World War.
It's one of the nation's most important days, and thousands of local communities will hold parades and dawn services in honor of the fallen. In addition to parades, there will also be dawn services and a minute silence, which many Australians observe in memory of their ancestors.
Sydney's Anzac Day service will be live-streamed on a BC and the state government's website. The Veterans March is scheduled to start at 9 am from Martin Place.
The NSWRSL is expecting anywhere between 12,000 and 15,000 veterans to attend, but the COVID-19 lockdown kept the number to a small number of participants. The march is free, but the RSL is urging residents to take it anyway.
For those who are unable to attend the event, public transport will be free until from Tuesday earlier this year. The RSL was slow to welcome others but has since relaxed its rules to be more inclusive.
In recent years, the Australian and New Zealand governments have reinforced the significance of Anzac Day by promoting its use for education and awareness. The Australian War Memorial has an entry on Anzac Day that includes a history of the holiday, photos of past marches, and recordings of the last post and rows.
For educational purposes, the Anzac Day Electronic Encyclopedia has an entry devoted to this holiday. It is a food and craft market.
Anzac Day is the national day for commemorating fallen soldiers, and the Auckland Farmers Market will celebrate this important day with more than 80 incredible growers, creators, and entertainers. This year's event will feature over 80 different producers, ranging from cheese to artisanal bread.
For those looking for some unique gifts, there are many ways to celebrate this important day in the Cenotaph community-run market in the heart of Truro. NSW is one of the largest in the region.
Featuring high-quality stalls, the market is a great place to enjoy local produce. It will also feature a cognitive dissonance exhibition and live music.
The market is held at the Truro Community Hall. For more information on the market, visit its website.
Licensed premises may only operate during the day. Other businesses, including antique and craft stores, can trade during the day.
But independent shops may not trade on this day. Independent shops must be open at least half of the time, and they must have a minimum of 30 employees in store.
Non-exempt businesses must close their doors at 1 p.m. on Anzac Day, so this is a good opportunity for food vendors. It is a memorial service.
Anzac Day is the nation's annual day of remembrance. Service locations vary, but in most areas, the service begins at dawn at the time of the original Gallipoli landing.
In Coogee, the service will take place at Goldstein Reserve. There are no tickets required, but seating will be on a first-come, first-served basis.
You can download the Dawn Service 2022 program. Harroth, New Zealand Defence Force has been stationed in the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt, for the past 40 years.
This is the longest ever overseas deployment outside of Antarctica. In 1982, New Zealand joined an international peacekeeping force on the Sinai Peninsula.
These joint forces operate checkpoints, observation posts, and patrol the area. They are responsible for overseeing the 1979 peace treaty between Egypt and Israel.
A dawn service is also planned for Anzac Day in NYC on April 25, 2022. The service is a day of reflection and commemoration.
Across the nation, people are encouraged to attend these services. Many branches of the Returned Services League will organize their own ceremonies.
In Morphett Vale, for example, the dawn service will begin at 10 a.m. The march will then proceed down Bogong Avenue to the cenotaph.
Those with mobility issues are encouraged to drop off their guests at the Southern Road closure point. This can be done at either the Ibis Hotel or the Esplanade.